Hello, 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 and welcome. I'm SHEILA BALGOBIN, known as the Dream Decipherer, and this is Dream Your Life, Live Your Dream Live, where we talk about all things dreams. Now, today we're going to take a walk on the wild side and look at animals appearing in our dreams, whether they're domestic or wild. But first, we need to look at physiologically what has developed and what animals in our dreams can represent. Now, the very first part of the brain to develop was the reptilian brain, as they call it, which is basically related to survival. You know, it doesn't think much, but knows how to survive. The mammalian or mammal side of our brain developed as we moved from a nocturnal existence, avoiding predators, to becoming more social creatures. So this was a time when our emotions and facial expressions, particularly related to child rearing, started to appear. And social exchanges between people started to become more common. So animals in our dreams, therefore, can represent and symbolize our emotions or the expression of our more wild side, which is a natural way of thinking and behaving and responding to things, which has become at odds with our neocortex or new brain, which developed even later and is involved with the higher functions of thinking, critical thinking, and evaluating and counting things, and also where our inner critic may lie, which is at odds with our more natural and instinctive selves as animals. So if you look at animal dreams, they've fascinated people for ages, time out of mind, and empirical research has shown that children dream more about animals than adults, and that dogs, cats, and horses are the most frequent animals that appear in their dreams. Moreover, the dreamer-animal interactions, most animal dreams and interactions are actually negative, which is interesting. In a recent study, which included some 4,000, nearly 5,000 participants between the ages of 6 and 90, who reported on over 2,000 dreams, they found that 18% of these dreams included animals, with children reporting, again, more animal dreams than adults, or adolescents for that matter. The most frequent animals, again, were dogs, cats, and horses. And about 20% of the dream animals were, in fact, pets of the dreamers. Now, about 30% of the dream animals showed bizarre features, such as becoming human, or becoming other animals, or being bigger than they would be in actual life, or talking. So, whereas wild animals will express our need to show our authentic feelings about stuff in an unbridled and uncensored way, domestic animals often portray how we are conditioned to guard and hide our real feelings. You know, we've become socialized, and like I said, that inner critic is there to kind of regulate our behavior and make it acceptable to the wider society. Now, animal dreams can enhance, in some ways, our sense of participation in life, showing us where we may have gone astray, or where we have contradicted our natural way of being to be able to fit in with others. They can also remind us of instincts and powers that we may possess, and can work on and develop as if we were to trust our animal instincts, our natural instincts and reactions to things. It was Carl Jung who once said that the instincts are a far better protection than all the intellectual wisdom in the world. In other words, listening to that instinctive sense can save us from danger, for example. So when it comes to the sexes, it's women who take these dreams much more seriously than men will. It's almost as if women understand or knew without ever knowing who Jung was or Freud was or reading a dream book, have become more in contact with their instinctive selves. And so women are more likely to understand that the dreaming about animals or contact with animals was somehow vital to their health and well-being. Now, since we view animals as acting spontaneously and without regard to social restrictions, they often represent our normal urges that break through the conscious controls that we exercise. As I said, that inner critic, that thinking brain, the neocortex, is what reins us in when we decide to not follow the rules, if you will. So wild animals, therefore, portray the need to express our feelings in an authentic and natural way, and an unbridled way, while domesticated animals show us, again, how we've been conditioned to shy away from expressing how we truly think and feel about things. Now, in terms of specific animals, domestic animals such as cows and bulls can represent territorial issues. The cow is motherly and passive, where a bull would be considered more aggressive and father-like. But they also suggest the care quality abilities of the parents or people who raised us, and how we may have adopted those qualities as we became more domesticated as we grow up. Bulls also provide additional insight in that it explodes when it sees red, which is actually a myth because they're colorblind. But you talk about waving a red flag in front of a bull. They can't actually see what color it is. But the implication is that there are feelings that are boiling below the surface, and that could perhaps in a dream, seeing a bull in a dream could perhaps represent that anger needs to be processed or is being processed in some way. And it could also point to how your parents may have bequeathed this particular trait to you. Whereas, on the other hand, cows are, again, more passive and nurturing, but and in some cultures, such as in India and Hindu culture, they're actually sacred because they're life-giving. They give milk, they don't give meat. Indians are largely vegetarian, but they're nurturing in some way. So cows can represent expanded awareness, again, nurture and evolution of some kind. Cats are an interesting creature. Cats are interesting creatures, and if you have a cat, you know that they're very contrary. They do what they like. You can't control them. You can't make them do what you want them to do. They do it, or if they do what you'd like, they do it in their own time. But they can portray as an instinctual and sensitive nature that just is wild. They avoid domestication completely. And also manipulative. Our cats are very good at training us to do what they like. Whereas dogs, on the other hand, are very faithful and loving. And they are more likely to express their feelings and love in their relationship with humans. But on the other hand, if you look at wild dogs like jackals or coyotes, they represent more our unconscious or and instinctive feelings in that respect. And in fact, in Native American lore, the coyote is a trickster, which is as likely to give us a slap as to impart wisdom to us. And you have to ask yourself at this point, is there anyone in your daily life that represents themselves differently than they actually are? Or is it you that's representing yourself differently from how you actually are? Now, these types of dogs can appear as archetypes, particularly when you're going through some kind of transformative process. Carnivorous animals such as dogs, big cats, or cats in general, I mean cats are carnivores as well, could mean in a dream that you're afraid of being eaten alive if you allow your emotions to express free rein. Or perhaps seeing them snarling and showing their teeth is a metaphor about your own fears, about digging into how you really feel about things. Now, other animals, such as goats and rams, are associated with sexuality, with playfulness, while sheep and lambs follow the herd. They're corralled, they're controlled. Maybe that's an indication that you're being too passive about things and need to be more assertive, to take more charge of not only your emotions, but your life in general. Bears occasionally show up in people's dreams, and they're often associated with childhood and maternal influences. I mean, there's nothing more fierce than a mother bear protecting her cubs. And security. Is it possible that dreaming about a bear is indicating that you feel some lack of security somewhere in your life? Now, our distant relatives, the great apes and small apes, such as chimpanzees and monkeys, as well as gorillas, can suggest perhaps in a dream that mimicking social behavior is going on, or that we're acting in a mischievous way to stir up some kind of response in others. Well, whereas gorillas are very nurturing and will even raise human children, believe it or not. They're powerful but unpredictable. You don't really know. They're wild animals. You don't know from one moment to the next how they're going to react to anything. So they perhaps could represent the power of emotion and the urge to break through social constraints, despite the fact that they have a social organization and hierarchy just like humans. But even within that social structure, they still have their wild selves and act instinctively. We talk about elephants that never forget things, and they have an enormous emotional and empathetic capacity, which may perhaps in a dream indicate that we have the power of our emotions may be trampling us, or we're trampling over our emotions and feelings and holding ourselves back. Dreams about elephants, because they have such long lives and long memories, can perhaps indicate emotional pain that's being held on to but needs to come to the surface. Whereas if you look at animals that carry burdens, such as, which not only elephants do as well, but we think more of donkeys or oxen that will carry burdens. It may suggest here that you're feeling saddled, you're feeling burdened or yoked to something in your life, some kind of responsibility. And it feels unnatural and restrictive in some way. Where in your life does that happen? Where in your life do you feel that you're carrying too much of a load or carrying somebody else's load? And if we look at animals like pigs, I mean, yes, we talk about piggish behavior, sloppy, messy behavior. But in many myths, pigs are actually sacred and represent family. I mean, if you've ever seen a sow, she may have up to 20 piglets that she's nurturing. So they're also a symbol of abundance. Whereas wild animals such as lions and tigers can also represent, again, sexuality and instinctive feelings around that. Both animals in this case are driven to go after their sustenance, wherever it is, however it is, and that could be an indication perhaps that their inner drives are taking over and taking control of you, rather than that neocortex we were talking about at the front of the brain that functions at a higher level and is more discerning. Now, again, the unconscious mind is very clever and uses metaphor and plays on words. So dreaming about a lion could indicate, if it's a play on words, that someone is lying to you. They're not telling the truth. They're hiding their true motives or feelings about something. So you have to look at all of these things in context and see, again, where the unconscious mind may be playing a little joke on us and indicating something in a funny way. Now, interestingly, on the more gentle side, deer can represent the gentleness of the soul and trust, issues around trust. Deer are very easily spooked and are very wary, particularly of humans. So they're easily frightened off. And the best way I have found over the years is to observe deer is to be completely quiet and still. Because if you make any kind of move, they're gone. Now, rabbits, I mean, there's all kinds of expressions, some of them quite rude, which I won't go into, but they represent reproduction, fertility, and perhaps a sense of sacrifice, because they're low on the food chain and get eaten up by a variety of other creatures. So, you know, it all depends, again, on context. I mean, insects, for example, insects can either creep us out or indicate some change of some kind. I mean, you think of mayflies that only live for 24 hours, or which calls us to live in the moment, to be spontaneous and not to get caught up with what's going to happen in the future, but to live for now. I know that before the pandemic, I had many clients that were dreaming about bugs, dreaming about insect infestations, bugs. And not long after that, we had the pandemic. Literally, where the planet was stopped by a bug. So their insects can indicate all kinds of things. I mean, for example, bees. Bees, busy bees, are being busy about things, whereas butterflies speak of transformation. So are these some of the creatures that are appearing in your dreams? Maybe there's something in your life that is transforming, in the case of butterflies, or needs to be transformed in some way. So when these menagerie of creatures appear in your dreams, instead of trying to corral them and restrict them, go and play with them instead. One client of mine, who was a budding entrepreneur, had a dream where she was being encouraged by lions in Central Park in Strawberry Fields, and don't ask what lions were doing in Central Park, I don't know, but she was being asked to, invited by the lions to play with her. When we worked through the dream, what it indicated was that she was letting family members kind of put her in a difficult position and reciting doom and gloom about her budding business or her intention to start a business. After we worked through the dream, she decided that, okay, I acknowledge that they have their fears and whatnot, but I'm not going to let them stop me. I'm going to play with the lions. Or they were lying to her. And to this day, her business is absolutely booming. If she hadn't listened to the encouragement of the lions to play, she would have missed out on a wonderful business opportunity and given in to the fears of the people around her. So listening to our more animal side can be a call. And as I always say, dreams are a call to action of some kind, whether it's to change a state of mind or to change in some physical way, the way things are happening and unfolding in our lives. So what animals are you dreaming about, and what are they encouraging you to take action on? I'd love to know. And I invite you to get in contact and let's talk about those animals in your dreams and what they're trying to tell you. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Have a great rest of the day, and I'll see you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.